He said, daughter, be of good cheer. Be on your way. Your faith has made thee whole. Jesus walks on down to the man's house. Somebody, the gospel writer says, somebody ran out and said, no need for you to come now. For she has passed on and gone on to the other side. But Jesus, my master, he said, where is she laid at? He went in and said, she's not dead, she's just asleep. And you know, people started laughing. Deacon Tim said, this man is crazy. I know she's dead. I looked up and touched her myself. She's dead. She's cold now. But Jesus, being God that he is, being sent from heaven, said, get everybody out of the way. Everybody, you got to get out of here now. He said, Mama and Dad, Peter, James, and John, y'all come with me. We're going in to get her up. So Jesus walks into this room. Look, went and called this girl and said, come forth. Arise. Now, after this, now the woman, they said that she was dead. But Jesus walked into the room and said, come forth, arise. He took the by her hand and said, get her something to eat. He walked outside to other people that he just put out 5 minutes ago and said, look who's awake. Look who's awake. He said, now don't tell nobody what just happened. How does God dash react to our dash hope? How does the Father feel about those who are ill? Stand with him at the pool of Bethesda. He stood out there and saw the pool of Bethesda was when the angel came down and troubled the water. And if you had a sickness, the first one in was made whole. And Jesus looked out and saw this man who had infirmity for 38 long years and said, what will thou want? He said, I have no man to put me in the pool after the angel troubled the water. He said, take up your bed and walk. My master, he stands at the pool of Bethesda. And I want to tell you, somebody long for God to speak to your lonely heart. My brothers, he's not doing it just for them that was caught in the Bible. He's doing it for me. He's doing it for you. The God who spoke still speaks. The God who can still come. He comes into our world. He comes into your world. He comes to do what you can. And sometimes you have to ask the question along this life journey, where is God when I am hurt? Where is this God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Is God the one who sits high and looks down low? Is he really paying attention to me while I hurt? David said, it got so bad that my enemy began to ask the question, where is your God now? Where is the God that David, that you sing and praise all the day long? Where is he at now while we are tormented, while we are having our way with you now? Where is he at that you can't see but you seem to have so much faith in? Where is this God at? Because it seems like that he has left you all by yourself. There are moments in our lives that we all can attest to in which a real God meets real pain. So we can ask the question, where is God when I am hurt? In our lesson here today, I just wanted to focus in on that word testimony. Because a testimony, my brothers and sisters, whether we know it or not, we all have a testimony. We all was given a testimony for a purpose. Now, once we look at this word testimony, and the writer Paul here, he tells me that testimony, when I look the word up, is evidence in support of a fact or a statement. In other words, it's proof. Then somebody said it's an open declaration or confession as of my faith. So what does it mean to be a testimony? It means simply that I am a witness, to witness on behalf of God of all the goodness that he has shown towards me. And my brothers and sisters, whether you want to sit there high and sedity on a high mountain, we all have a testimony because God has done something for all of us in here today. We ain't made it here thus far by ourselves. I heard the writer say, he brought me all of the way because I was too slow, too stupid, too dumb to figure out how to make it to the next level. A testimony. I wonder, we all have a testimony. And some people sit here doing testimony, period, and sit on their behind like God has not done nothing. And sit there like all the money in the bank account that God has given, and all the cars out in the driveway God has given, all the pretty houses, fine suits, nice dress, big old hats and nice shoes that filling up the closet, and the closet in the hallway that they have attained it on their own. But the God that I serve, He gives it all to us. He gives us a testimony for a purpose. I know you got a testimony because I'm sitting here because of the testimony God wanted to give to me. I'm standing here, so what does it mean to have a testimony? In order to test it, let's break this word testimony. All right. A test. Now, I'm not talking about the test where you have multiple choice. You have your essay question. Now, I'm talking about a test where there's a trial of the quality of something. To put something to a test. And molding means to denote a statue, a role, or a function. So in order to stand up your testimonial period, we have to know how to testify. And in order to testify, you have to have a test. But my brothers and sisters, you can't have a testimony without the test. Because the test gives you the testimony to tell somebody about the things that you went through. So in order to testify, you got to have a test. You can't have the testimony without the test. And my brothers and sisters, whether we look at it or not, we are given the testimony for a purpose. It might seem funny that we are given a testimony for a purpose, because when I got saved, when I decided to join church, nobody told me, can I just be real this morning? Can I just be me myself? Nobody told me all of the hell I would have to go through on this Christian battle in the church once I got saved. And I know some of you want to sit there like, yeah, you know, since I came to Jesus, everything been peaches and cream, every day been a good day, always shine. Well, I wonder what church you at. Come on. I wonder this morning, Sister Fang, what church they at. Because when I got saved, it started out good. It started out good because I was still learning how to be a Christian. But once I made my mind up on how to really do this, all hell seemed to break loose. Things I didn't have to deal with while I was a sinner, now I have to deal with on an everyday basis. All right. And it seemed as though God is doing, He's messing with me. He's changing my way of thinking. Because how I would have handled things as a sinner in the world, I can't find myself to handle them as a saint in the church. You know, some days you just, Brother Marcus, some days I don't want to always give the correct answer. When somebody calls me the wrong way, I don't always want to turn the other cheek. Sometimes I just want to drop everything and say, let's get it on right now. But you know, but since I got saved, my testimony is I don't do the things that I used to do. All right. Come on. And some of you say, well, how is that? Well, it was a learning process. You know, I started out, some of us, we are in the process. I don't do it as often as I used to do. In other words, when you would have talked to me the wrong way, I would have cussed you out right there on the spot. But now I learned how to walk away and do it under my breath. Now, I wish somebody would be real with me this morning. Now that you cussed, that you stepped on my toes, I learned how to walk away and just say, ooh, next time they do it, it's going to be some trouble in the house. But I learned how, with my testimony, to be a better person. That's true. And some days, Brother Marcus, I wonder why today. Why can it be one of those days where I just had to go ahead and be branding on them and tell them how I really felt? But a testimony. Well, now once we look at a testimony now, because I like testimony, period. But I hate to hear testimonies that's not true. All right. When we give up to give a testimony, it ought to be a personal testimony, not somebody else's testimony they told last week that you heard on YouTube, that you heard last week. It ought to be our own testimony. And my brothers and sisters, whether you know it or not, we can tell if your testimony real or not. Because that comes from the heart, it reaches the heart. So when you tell your testimony, I ought to be able to rejoice with you, knowing that my God who sits high has done something wonderful for you. Because when you stand up and you say, to God be the glory who is the head of my life, I know half the time some of us just playing.